So with that, I'm going to get to the awards. Ready? And some of this might get a little long, but I think it's important because the folks that nominated these folks really had some important things to say. So I'm going to start with Joseph. Joseph Rayzor from the University of Northern Iowa. Joseph has served as Director of Risk Management at the University of Northern Iowa for nearly 6 years. Joseph earned his Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and his Juris Doctorate at the University of Mississippi. He holds the designation of Associate in Risk Management, ARM. He joined the MHEC Master Property Program MPP Leadership Committee in 2017 and quickly demonstrated his leadership skills by participating in the underwriting subcommittee. And Joseph, I've just observed you in your wonderful leadership over the years, and I really appreciate that. In 2019, he accepted the position of chair of MPP, and through your tenure as chair, you've provided exemplary leadership service to MHEC and the MPP member institutions. You've proven time and time again that decisions you make for the MPP are not just decisions that benefit your institution, but you're making choices and recommendations that are the best for all of the members. You're highly regarded by your peers as a strong leader that encourages strategic thinking, innovation, and action. And in February of this year, you were awarded with the Presidential Medallion for Invaluable COVID Response Leadership. What the heck did you do to get that? I'm sure you did. The University of Northern Iowa President Mark A. Nook said Joseph has been the consistent presence through the university's leadership response to COVID-19. He's worked with the Forward Together team through leadership transitions and provided steady, effective guidance from day one. I just want to express our deep gratitude to you, Joseph. Thank you. Oh my God, I get to go. All righty. Jared Shank. Jared, where art thou? Back here. All right. Jared Shank, Ohio Department of Higher Education. Jared Shank, Senior Director of Military and Apprenticeship Initiatives and Special Projects, Ohio Articulation and Transfer Network. That's a mouthful. Ohio Department of Higher Ed embodies MHEC's strategic priorities of advancing innovation, developing collaborative solutions, and driving cost savings. Jared has over 8 years of service to MHEC going back to 2014. He was a major contributor to helping build the strong foundation to what would be the multi-state collaborative on military credit. Jared's welcoming and cheerful personality has garnered lots of participation in MHEC's military service, not only from Ohio institutions and organizations, but also those from other Midwest states. He is the he's the go-to person when institutions have questions related to transfer, interpreting joint service transcripts. That's kind of complicated, right? GI Bill benefits, and so much more. Connections within the world of higher education and the military have been pathways for military connected students to meet their education goals. And on average for academic year 2021, a military or veteran student in Ohio transfers 26 semester credit hours of military training that counts as college credit. That is awesome. On average, that is a per student savings of $9,906 at a community college or $21,996 at a university. Additional work on collecting data is outgoing thanks to Jared's championing. Jared Shank, husband, father of 2 sons, Army veteran, and advocate in improving higher education for all, exemplifies the spirit that is MHEC service. Jared, would you come on up here? All right. I am going to invite Barbara Ballard up here with me, wherever you are. And we don't typically mention the individual that nominated folks, but in this case, I'm going to do that because it's really hard for me to really read through this without revealing who the person is who nominated our Sirotkin Award recipient. So it's with great pleasure that I nominate, and this is the individual who nominated this person, Dr. David Eisler. I'm going to bring him up. Former president of Ferris State University and a past chair of MHEC to be the 2022 recipient of the Phillip L. Sirotkin Award. David's many contributions to MHEC, higher education in Michigan, the faculty, staff, and students at Ferris State, and the university's surrounding community all underscore how deserving he is of this honor. Only a year after Dr. Eisler became president of Ferris State, he was appointed to serve as one of the 5 MHEC commissioners from Michigan, and he has been reappointed 4 additional times by 3 different governors, 2 Democrats and 1 Republican. Way to go. David has made many contributions to the compact during his 18 years as a MHEC commissioner. Notable among them was his tenure as chair, which began in November 2020 during the height of COVID. Then most recently his service on the Strategic Planning Committee. I'll also add, as I noted today, he's going to be the longest serving past chair in the history of the compact. Keep going. While his 19-year tenure as president of Ferris State has been marked by significant capital and programmatic expansions, his student-centric accomplishments are ones that I know he's the most proud of. Among those are the sharp increases in student retention and graduation rates, his success in enhancing the excellence of the undergraduate experience. And I have heard David talk so much of how proud he is about the work that he does with students. In the spirit of Phillip Sirotkin, under whom I served briefly while working at Witchy and NCHEMS, and who had a well-deserved reputation for his ability to forge collaborative relationships, David had developed partnerships between Ferris State and 22 Michigan community colleges. He has also labored to garner significant philanthropic funding to support students and has generously carried through with his commitment on a personal level. David and his wife, Patsy, established the Norris and Irene Johnson Scholarship Endowment to assist former foster care youth who are pursuing a bachelor's degree at Ferris State. David's impact has also been felt not only within the state of Michigan, where he has served on many local and state boards, but nationally. For example, through a partnership between the American Association of State Colleges and Universities, on whose board of directors he served, Dr. Eisler helped create the American Democracy Project. Finally, on a personal note, my tenure as chair and past chair coincided with David's tenure as treasurer and vice chair, respectively. So I had the great pleasure of interacting with him a great deal during those 2 years. In addition to being conscientious, hardworking, always available when needed, and his many other virtues, I was most struck by David's integrity, ability to listen, wisdom, and warmth. My friend Olivia Madison, whom I preceded and David followed as chair, agreed in many conversations we had how fortunate the compact was to have David in line to become the chair. And I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention how highly David was thought of by the MHEC staff. And that is so true, David. Not how grateful they were for the privilege of working with him. Dr. Ken Sauer, Indiana Commission for Higher Education. I'm going to add on my own note that David has been a pleasure to work with, a committed, wise, frank, and trusted leader. And we are so grateful to you, David. Thank you. Ken, you want to come up here too? David, do you want to join us up on the stage?
When I give these to people, I always say, please don't drop it. Please sit down. I'm truly honored by this. And you know, I've sat through many of these MHEC dinners and watched the people who've been honored by the Sirotkin Award. And, you know, I'm not worthy to be in their league. But for me, first, thank you. Second, I'm truly grateful for this award. And I'm humbled by this. If you are a leader, what you discover is there really are no individual awards. The awards go to the people who help support you and who do the work. They're the people who really deserve the recognition. But you know, I've been blessed in this life to have my best friend, my partner, the love of my life, Patsy, who is my strongest supporter. So Patsy, thank you. January 6th, we'll be married 50 years. And it's true. She was dating my roommate at the University of Michigan. So roommates are good for something. When you receive awards, I can tell what award really has great meaning for me because I wish that my parents were here to be a part of this. And so I know that they're looking down, and no one in our family had ever been to college. And it was my parents' dream that their two boys would go to college. And so I'm so grateful for them. And I think they're watching. I just want to talk just a bit about MEC. I don't know what your experience was when you joined the MEC board, but you're appointed to this and you really don't know what it is when you begin most likely. And for me, I was so struck about this wonderful group of people who were commissioners. I hadn't seen a group like that anywhere. Elected officials, people from the governor's office, people from the public colleges, from the community colleges, from the private colleges. I think there are very few organizations in America that bring together higher education like this. The tendency is to segment our profession rather than to bring it together. And, I've learned so much more from MEC than I've ever done from MEC. And I'm not a native Midwesterner. I grew up in South Jersey. But the other piece that MEC does for you is it takes you to places in the Midwest where you might never deliberately go on your own. And when you get there, there is always something that's just absolutely astonishing, that's just amazing. And you feel the great pride that the people who live there feel for their community. I certainly know that we could feel it here in Ohio. So I'm grateful to MEC for that. But I want to go back to my parents for just a second, because what I didn't realize was how fortunate I was to have parents who really wanted me to go to college. And the challenge that we have in higher education is not for students who come from families where they have a parent or a parent who wants them to go to college. It's for students who have no support network at all. And if you think about the economic development that's happening in this state and our states throughout the Midwest, we will never meet those needs unless we find a way to reach out and not just get the students who weren't going to go to college, but to get them to graduate from college. Because what we need to provide is access. That access creates opportunity. We have to find a way to make it affordable. And then we have to find a way that students succeed. And this is the work of MEC. And really what we're about at the end of the day is we're about helping students. And that's why we're in higher ed. Thanks so very much.